So there's a lot of fun stuff that I do want to go over with you, like how Caitlin was kind of trolling Angel, I think.
Angel Reese is a terrible basketball player. She has regressed as a player. Her decision-making is equally as bad. Her defense is now non-existent. She's gotten worse at scoring layups. She's worse at finishing through contact. She's more hesitant to shoot the ball. She now has eliminated the mid-range from her game. She's eliminated so many of the good parts of her game.
They aren't an even match anymore, so I don't know if this is still like necessarily a rivalry.
Indiana Fever destroying the pathetic Chicago Sky.
Fever versus Sky isn't much of a rivalry.
Just when you thought this rivalry couldn't get any hotter, Caitlin Clark didn't even suit up and still managed to steal the show.
The Chicago Sky were also trolling Caitlin Clark a little bit because they spelled her name wrong on the Jumbotron. Who doesn't know how to spell Caitlin Clark?
From animated reactions on the bench to a cold-hearted call-out on Angel Reese, this wasn't just a win for the Fever. This felt personal. The Chicago Sky got absolutely dismantled in front of a home crowd. And let's be honest, Angel Reese had one of the worst nights of her young career.
The Indiana Fever beat the shit out of the Sky so bad, Caitlin Clark looked like she was legitimately bored out of her mind. This was domination. And this Chicago Sky team is not even close to the Fever.
We've got the full breakdown, the highlights, the lowlights, and everything in between. Buckle up. This is one you're going to want to see all the way through.
She was minus 20. She's not had a game this year where the team is better with her on the bench than on the floor. Can we stop the myth that Angel Reese plays defense?
If you are a true Caitlin Clark fan, type Caitlin Clark, the GOAT, 100% in the comments below.
No Caitlin Clark, no problem. No Sophie Cunningham, no problem. No head coach Stephanie White, have no fear. We came into your building and we just smacked you guys around.
Let's start with the obvious. This was an absolute demolition. The Indiana Fever walked into Chicago and left nothing but rubble behind. Final score? 79-52. That's a 27-point win, and trust me, it looked even worse on the floor.
52 points is the lowest point total that Chicago has had since 2011. So it's actually tied for the 5th lowest, apparently, in point total in team history in a regular season game. And the Indiana Fever has beaten the Chicago Sky by a combined 62 points in 2 games.
And get this, Caitlin Clark wasn't even playing. No Sophie Cunningham, no head coach Stephanie White. And still, the Fever put on a masterclass performance.
And Angel Reese tonight was in for 27 minutes. She scored 4 points. She got 2 assists.
Today was a disaster class. She has had 3 to 4 disaster class games this year.
She's not good. She is just not good.
Acting head coach Austin Kelly came in with poise, energy, and a game plan that worked to perfection. His rotations were sharp, his demeanor calm, and the players responded. The Fever set the tone early, winning each quarter decisively, especially in the second half where they buried the Sky with lockdown defense and a relentless offensive push.
The Indiana Fever looked like a totally different team since Ari McDonald took over and started orchestrating for the team. Ari McDonald is a threat. She can score in the paint. She can score from outside of the arc. She's just a really great passer. This is the type of thing I think that they were envisioning when thinking of playing Caitlin Clark off ball, because she mentioned wanting to play off ball. This is something that she did do at Iowa.
Kelsey Mitchell led all scorers with 17 points, slicing through the defense and getting buckets with ease. Natasha Howard added 13 points on an efficient 6 of 10 shooting, and Aaliyah Boston, while in a bit of foul trouble, still managed 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Tyler Marsh, the coach of the Chicago Sky, says, "I don't think Angel struggled tonight. I think we struggled as a team. It's not about Angel being better for us. It's about us being better for Angel." Nobody scored in double digits on the Chicago Sky. I did not even know that.
Even more impressive? Not a single Fever starter played over 30 minutes. That's how wide the gap was. Ari McDonald came off the bench and instantly lit a spark. 12 points, 3 steals, a block, and relentless pressure. She wasn't just a stat stuffer. She changed the momentum every time she stepped on the court. The Fever fed off her energy and simply overwhelmed the Sky in every category.
Angel Reese right here. She was deep in the bag at this point right here. Oh, this is one of her go-to moves. Dribble. Let me throw it up, and no.
From deep, Indiana was lethal. 11 threes on 27 attempts. That's over 40% shooting from beyond the arc. They moved the ball, shared the wealth, and looked like a team with real chemistry and confidence. The scoreboard said blowout, but the body language said something louder. The Fever are starting to believe they're that team.
That kind of tells you exactly how bad the Dallas Wings are. They got beat 2 games in a row by this Sky team. This Sky team is awful.
Meanwhile, Chicago had no answers. None. On offense, they were a mess. On defense, even worse. The Fever executed, and the Sky looked like they were in a fog. This wasn't just a win. This was a statement.
Natasha Howard, 6 for 10, 13 points. Aaliyah Boston, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Sydney Colson, 6 points, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 2 for 5. Kelsey Mitchell, 5 for 11, 17 points. Lexi Hull, look at that, plus 19, plus 20, plus 6, plus 28, plus 27. Lexi Hull, play defense till you're full.
Even without their stars, Indiana's rising. If you're an Angel Reese fan, you might want to brace yourself, because this was, without a doubt, one of the most disappointing performances of her professional career so far. The numbers? Brutal. 2 for 7 from the field, just 4 points and a staggering minus 20 in plus-minus. And if you watch the game, it didn't just look bad, it felt bad. She looked hesitant, frustrated, and outmatched on both ends of the court. Yes, she pulled down 12 rebounds.
I mean, Caitlin was pretty expressive like all night. She was just really cheering on the team. There's definitely going to be a GIF going around everywhere of this one.
And you have to love the balanced scoring in this one when you get 17 from Mitchell, 13 from Natasha Howard, 11 from Boston, 12 from McDonald, 9 from Hull, on down across the board. They got a bunch of 3-point shots up in this game too, 27 attempts, which is encouraging, 11 hits, 41% from 3. But the defense is the night and day difference. Now, it helps when you play the Chicago Sky.
And credit where it's due, her effort on the boards is never in question. But here's the harsh reality. Angel Reese is rapidly becoming a one-dimensional player. She can rebound, yes, but scoring, creating offense, defending without fouling. That's where it's falling apart. Her shot selection was questionable, her finishes around the rim were weak, and her defensive presence was almost non-existent. This isn't just a bad game. It's part of a worrying pattern. She's now had multiple games where she's looked completely disengaged or ineffective on offense. There was a point in the second quarter where she attempted one of her usual dribble spin throws and completely bricked it off the rim. No footwork, no separation, just a wild shot in the paint that had no chance.
And this was a Commissioner's Cup game, and there is a point differential. So blowing out the Chicago Sky is a very good thing for the Indiana Fever to be moving up in the Commissioner's Cup.
And let's talk turnovers. 3 of them. She got swatted at the rim twice, and she didn't even attempt a free throw. Not one. For someone who thrives on physicality, that's a red flag. And it's not just the numbers, it's the body language, it's the energy. There were moments in this game where you could see the confusion, the indecision. She was almost invisible offensively. Her teammates couldn't lean on her to score, and the defense didn't even respect her jump shot. When Aaliyah Boston scored right over her for an &1, Caitlin Clark from the bench exploded in celebration, calling out a travel on Reese earlier. It was loud, it was pointed, and it said everything about how this matchup was being perceived.
So the Indiana Fever, they shot 45% from the field. They shot 77% from the 3. And the leader of the 3-pointers, Ari McDonald.
And that's the part that really stings. Because this wasn't just a poor night. This was national TV. This was a high-profile showdown with the Fever, a team that's been circling the Sky on their calendar. This was supposed to be the rivalry. Clark versus Reese, and instead, Angel looked like a role player caught in the headlights. Meanwhile, the Fever, they just played her straight up and dared her to beat them. She couldn't. Let's be honest. The media built this into something big. Angel's personality, her branding, her college dominance, all of it created expectations that she's simply not meeting right now.
The WNBA is clearly racist. She's been all but forced to put out apologizing for being white and, well, let's be honest, being better than the black girls in the league.
Even critics who had her in the Rookie of the Year conversation last season are starting to question her trajectory. And it's not just about scoring. Her decision-making looks shaky. Her defensive effort is inconsistent. And what's most concerning, there's very little growth in her offensive game since the start of the season. You expect rookies to struggle. You don't expect them to plateau this early. Sky head coach Tyler Marsh tried to soften the blow post game, saying it's not about Angel being better for us, it's about us being better for Angel. But let's be real, this was not a team failure. This was a featured player looking completely lost against a team that came ready to embarrass her.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
You know it's bad when analysts say things like, she doesn't even try to play defense anymore, or when fans openly ask if she should be benched. And here's another thing, she's becoming a liability. Statistically, there hasn't been a game this season where the Sky have performed better with her on the floor than off it. That's not opinion, that's pure data. And when your name is constantly brought up in national headlines, NIL deals, and WNBA promos, that level of performance just doesn't cut it. You want to talk rivalries? You want to talk about Caitlin versus Angel? Fine, but let's call it what it is right now. A mismatch. Caitlin's making waves even when she's not on the floor. Angel, she's becoming a story for all the wrong reasons.
Angel Reese is a liar. Angel Reese is a fraud. Angel Reese is a sociopath.
Describe Angel Reese in one word.
Bitch.
Ghetto.
Bitch. Trash.
Garbage.
Mid.
Let's talk about the energy. Let's talk about the shade. Let's talk about the player who didn't even step on the court and still managed to own the moment. Caitlin Clark may have been sidelined this game, but don't think for a second she wasn't in control of the entire narrative. This wasn't just a regular season matchup. This wasn't just another night in the W. No, this felt personal. The Fever walked into Chicago like they had a score to settle, and Caitlin Clark made sure the message was clear, even from the bench. Right from the jump, Caitlin was locked in. She was animated, loud, passionate, coaching from the sidelines, talking to teammates, reacting to every big play like she was still in Iowa battling for a national title. And then came the moment, the one that instantly lit up social media. Angel Reese shuffled her feet in the post, tried to bully her way toward the hoop, and Caitlin Clark stood up on the sidelines, pointed straight at her and yelled, "Travel!" And she wasn't subtle about it. This wasn't quiet coaching. This wasn't calm support. This was Clark calling her shot, literally, and the cameras caught every frame.
Caitlin Clark is more mature. Caitlin Clark has decorum.
Caitlin Clark obviously is jet fuel to its popularity.
Caitlin Clark is far better of a basketball player and has made such a tremendous impact in a greater number, more so than Angel Reese. Everybody knows that. Her college career was better. The stadium sales, the WNBA popularity has gone up because Caitlin Clark.
The clip went viral in minutes. Fans were already on edge about the so-called rivalry, and Caitlin just threw gasoline on the fire. Angel Reese was visibly shaken afterward. You could see it. And Caitlin? She sat down like it was just another day at the office. She knew exactly what she was doing. And let's be honest, that's what makes her special. You can feel her presence even when she's not playing. And the trolling didn't stop there. Earlier in the night, Caitlin was seen doing what she always does, signing autographs, taking pictures with fans, engaging with the crowd. But one moment stood out. A Chicago Sky fan, clearly trying to sneak one past her, handed over a Sky jersey for Caitlin to sign. She looked at it, paused, politely declined. It was subtle, classy, but oh so cold. She wasn't there to show love to the other side. She was there for her team, and she made sure everyone in that building knew it. But it didn't stop there either, because the Chicago Sky, in what seemed like a not-so-subtle jab, misspelled her name on the Jumbotron. They put Caitlin Clark with a Y. Now let's be real, This isn't just a typo. This is the most talked about player in the league. The face of the rookie class, a top jersey seller. Every arena she plays in is sold out. Everybody knows how to spell her name. But the Sky, on their home court, in a game where she wasn't even suiting up, misspelled it. Whether it was an innocent mistake or a petty move, the fans noticed. And so did Caitlin.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
This kind of stuff builds storylines, and it's why people are glued to this rivalry. Even when one side isn't holding up their end on the court, the tension, the personalities, and the pettiness are magnetic. Caitlin and Angel have been tied together since college, but let's not pretend it's still neck and neck. Right now, Caitlin Clark is dominating the league's attention, while Angel Reese is struggling to find her rhythm. But here's the kicker. Caitlin didn't gloat. She didn't trash talk. She just kept being Caitlin. Vocal, confident, ultra aware of the spotlight she's in, and she used it perfectly. Meanwhile, her teammates went off, hitting threes, grabbing boards, throwing no-look dimes. And who was the first one up on the bench? Caitlin, celebrating like she'd hit the shot herself. She's bought in, completely. And the Fever? They're feeding off that energy. You could argue that Indiana looked more together without her on the floor. Not because she isn't important, but because she's helped establish a culture that demands excellence. Her presence has elevated the entire locker room. And if you're the Sky, this has to sting. Not just because you got torched, not just because your rival beat you again, but because the opposing star player didn't even need to play to embarrass you. Caitlin Clark showed the world she could dominate a moment without logging a single minute. That's rare.
Angel Smollett, in her own words.
Yeah, obviously there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA, our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process. Obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us in this.
What do you think the league's response, just coming out right away and getting that investigation going?
Yeah, obviously, like I said, they understand that this is the priority. Obviously, there's no place for this, and they preach. I think 2 days before they put out no hate, no speech. And obviously, the women in this league, they know that, and know there's no space for that. And I believe that every player in this league deserves to be treated with respect and want to come to work and just have fun and have a great environment to work at. So I think they've done a great job putting that out, and we're obviously just going to respond as they need to.
No evidence. Shocking. The WNBA is a joke. And even with Clark carrying the league on her shoulders, it still sucked.
That's special. And that's why her name, the correctly spelled one, will be at the center of this league for years to come. Let's be clear. This wasn't just another game. This was chess, not checkers. Every smirk, every side eye, every travel call from the bench. It was part of the show. Caitlin Clark didn't just go off on Angel Reese. She went off around her, without a shot, without a dribble. And in doing so, she reminded everyone exactly who owns the spotlight and who's just trying to keep up with it. So there you have it. The Indiana Fever didn't just win, they sent a message. No Caitlin Clark, no Sophie, no problem. They didn't just beat the Chicago Sky, they humiliated them. Angel Reese, outplayed, out-hustled, outclassed. And Caitlin Clark? She might not have stepped on the hardwood, but her presence echoed through the arena like a buzzer beater at the Final Four. That moment she called the travel on Reese, that wasn't just about basketball. That was about pride. That was about energy. That was about making sure everyone knew this is still her league. And look, if this really is a rivalry, it's starting to look like a one-sided one, because when one player is making headlines from the bench and the other is disappearing on the court, that tells you everything. Caitlin Clark is built for this spotlight. Angel Reese, she's got work to do. Let us know what you think in the comments. Is this rivalry dead? Was Caitlin Clark out of line for trolling from the sidelines? Or was it exactly the kind of fire the league needs? Hit that like button if you're riding with the fever. Smash subscribe if you want more of this unfiltered energy every week. And don't forget to turn on that bell so you never miss a moment. Until next time, remember, legends don't always need to play to take over the game. Sometimes all it takes is one look, one call, and one moment. This was personal, and Caitlin Clark made sure you felt it.